first off, say thanks to people who watch my videos, thanks to the likes and stuff. So, today, what I was going to talk about today sort of came out of a conversation and like a bit of a thought process. First, the conversation I was having with my daughter, and just like a general theme that I've been noticing. So, I was talking to my daughter, I was driving to school today, and she said, since I've been getting buses, I've just noticed buses and seen buses everywhere. She said, and also, since I've been wearing a school uniform, I've noticed, like, there's loads of people wearing school uniforms around. So this is when I said to her, well, what you're talking about is something called confirmation bias. And it's kind of like, when you're looking out for something, then you obviously see it more. So, this also got me, when obviously like my daughter does social media and all stuff like that, so she's, you know, exposed to things that I would have been exposed to when I was 15. And like, one of those things is like, she's actually asked me about, have you ever heard of the law of attraction? And it's like, there we go. So, one of the things I said to her is, and that's where, when people talk about the law of attraction, what they're actually talking about is confirmation bias quite often. It's like, you know, in one of these, I don't know, I can't actually think of any of like the books of law of attraction, like The Secret or something, but I can't remember what the woman's called who wrote it. But anyway, you know, she says something like, you know, think about manifesting a yellow butterfly into your life, and then you'll see how they appear. And it's like, you know, when you like think about something, then if it appears in your, like, you know, if you come across it in your life, then you'll notice it. And like most of our senses, like for instance vision, the way our eyes are set up, we think that we have this like fantastic, you know, we can see, I mean I can obviously see my hand there, and I can see my hand there, but I can't really see my hand there. If I was holding up a sign, I couldn't read it. You know, there's no way that I can see that I'm moving fingers, but I can't count how many fingers I'm holding up with my vision. It's just not possible, because I haven't got that level of, you know, it's just not wired up that way. So, in fact, the point that we can actually like see detailing is very small. It's really small, but like our brain's set up to like trick us into thinking that we can see everything. It's like, don't panic, we can see it all. If a tiger appears over there, we've got it, don't worry. It's like kind of, it's one of them. So, being, you know, having something consciously appear in your field of vision isn't just so crazy. Like if you've sort of got in the back of your mind a yellow butterfly, then, you know, that's it. You know, you'll see it. Now, prior to this, while she was having her breakfast, she was like just talking to me. She's got, there are friends of hers who were like on exchange trips at the moment, and one of them was like in America or something. And so she said, oh, you know, I can't remember what her friend's name is called, such and such. It's 10:30 at night for it. And like for us it was early in the morning. So, whoops, we were saying it's like, she was saying it's amazing, we're both awake at the same time, but it's completely different. And it's like, well, yeah, you know, that's actually quite profound what you just said. So I was like telling about, my best mate lives in Australia, And so, like, occasionally we'll be like sending messages or something. And so for me it's like Sunday evening or something, and for him it's Monday morning. And like he's on his way to work. And it's just like, it's just, you know, Sunday evening and Monday morning do not feel the same at all. And it's crazy to think that, you know, I'm still like enjoying the back end of the weekend, and he's on his way to work on Monday morning sitting on a train. It's just, you know, there's nothing, there's obviously nothing woo about that. Although, I did see a thing which appeared not to be a parody on YouTube, where some girl was saying, but I don't understand, you know, if Australia really is in the future, why don't they warn us about things happen? Like, when the Queen died, why didn't they tell us? I'm like, I hope that's a joke. Anyway, so, you know, the difference between, you know, a Monday morning and like Sunday evening, or, you know, the way it feels. So you've got your physicality, like the actual like word it is. You know, it's daytime, nighttime. You know, obviously there's nothing strange about that. But like the way you can be alive at the same time and have completely different perceptions. You know, it kind of seems weird. You know, obviously we're in completely different places, but it just shows you where your mind, my mind was totally weekend, and his mind is obviously on his way to work. And it's like, our mind, you know, we really do define our lives are totally set up in our heads. You know, it seems crazy to like have to point that out, but you know, our perceptions obviously are our perceptions, and although some of them are based on, you know, what's physically going on around us, other parts are just based on, you know, what we decide to focus on. So like my daughter said, you know, since I'm wearing a uniform, I notice loads of people wearing uniforms. And like, you probably notice this when you talk to someone about, I don't know, any given thing. It's always, you might, I don't know, it usually happens in disagreements where like you're pointing out something that to you is completely obvious, and they'll just say to you, I don't know anyone who, like whatever. And it's not that they don't know anyone who, whatever. It's just that when you just haven't thought about it, or like brought it up in conversation, how would you even know what someone else thinks about, you know, whatever? It seems to be like, you know, there's like a kind of internet meme right now, and it's like, you know, you tell me what you think about climate change, and I can tell you what you think about abortion, type of thing. Now, that's kind of disingenuous, because it's like what most people don't actually really know anything about climate change, or they've never really, unless they've had an abortion, you know, it's like, I don't think that you can actually, I think there's certain things that you probably never really come to grips with unless like you have to really, you know, go through it. So where I'm going with this is that most of the thing that people like say and think, and probably even think that they are actually opinions, but not. It's just like they just go to the like ideological, you know, they've got like a basket of like pre-cooked opinions about stuff, and it's just easy for them to just go, you know, such a topic comes and it's like, well, I'll just go in there and pull this out. Oh, look, I think this. And like the problem with that is, so when it says things like, you tell me what you think about climate change, I'll tell you what you think about abortion, or gun rights, or free speech, and all stuff like that. And it doesn't seem to be allowed to not have opinions about things these days. Which is kind of rich coming from me, coming and talking to people, giving my opinion about things. But I'd like to think that I'm not just giving an opinion. It's what I'm trying to get out is sometimes, well, no, always, it's a good idea to actually think things through. So it's actually something it's a muscle that you need to build up of thinking things through, because we all get tired. We all go to the canned opinion version. What's my opinion on this? Oh, there it is. Look, it's something that I just got off the shelf, because it's easier. It's just less tiresome. But if you don't reflect on what you think and why you think things, and why are certain opinions pushed onto us, so it's kind of I don't know if anyone listening to this actually shares anything that I think, but in very recent history, you've got to admit that there's certain things and opinions about things just got mandated, and it was for instance, we went from COVID to Ukraine like that. It was almost overnight, and I remember walking the dog, and so there's loads around where I live. There's loads of bus stops that have got screens, these great big electronic screens. And I remember it was still at the time when you could see people walk, even though you didn't have to wear a mask outside anymore. There were still people queuing up at the bus stop with a mask on. But there was this big Ukraine flag image flying in on the screen in the bus stop, and it says, "We stand shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine." And what was weird about that, what made me think that was weird, is that it was in English. We're in Spain, and it's this big thing in English, and go, that's a bit, what? No. It's when the opinion came through from head office, did no one have a chance to translate it or something? You know what I mean? It just seemed really, really strange. What's going on there? So, yeah. And so, where I'm going with this is if you hand over your thought, your sense-making apparatus, if you outsource that, then you get in it's quite a dangerous place. But it's not a dangerous place. It's a dangerous place for everyone, because there are lots of people who just want to join the collective whatever anyway. So you can't really rely. The whole zeitgeist is just totally prefabricated now, and it's just this. So this is what we're going to talk about today, and this is the current opinion, and this is the and it's and it happens from across the political spectrum. So at the moment we've got a load of stuff talking about immigration, illegal immigration, and all across the world, whereas the far right is rising up because of the immigration, or you're hearing such and such people getting stabbed, and then on the other hand it's far right protests and stuff, and it's would any of this even be happening if it's just action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction. And it's like, I'm not saying that communities shouldn't exist or anything, far from it. But, can we not be a little bit more individual, and like take the time to, what's going on? What is going on? Why do I see these things everywhere? Why am I suddenly seeing these yellow butterflies? What made me manifest this into my reality? And obviously, social media has got a lot to do with it, but it's amusing, the whole. So currently we've got social media coming under fire of like, it's spreading hate. And hate doesn't really mean anything. What does that? Imagine you just have like, remember when there was, for people watching this from the UK, there used to be like whole Marmite thing about like, I hate Marmite, which was like actually done by the Marmite company. And like I think, if I'm not wrong, I might just be making this up, but I'm sure you could actually buy jars of Marmite that said I hate Marmite on them. I'm pretty sure that was the case. And it was funny, also because I love Marmite, so I used to think that it was just hilarious. But one of the things about Marmite is that it tends to be one of those love-hate things, where like people don't, you either not tried it, or you've tried it and you like it or you hate it. It's just, it just seems to be like that. So maybe the whole like thing of the advert was just to get the people who haven't tried it to try it, because at least if you like it, then you might buy it. And if you don't try it, then they're never going to buy it anyway. And if you hate it, they're never going to buy it. So at least let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. And I kind of think that that's like exactly what's going on with social media, because although, say you take something like Twitter, and so you've got the people like follow stuff, unless you're going for like the, send me anything type of, feed, feed. But if you're following the feed of like people like follow, then in theory, it's people like follow. But from there, like lots of stuff gets in from mainstream media, and it all gets like distilled. It does get like kind of, echo chambered really quickly. And you could, if we just live our life like that, the fact that there are so few, well, it's not that there's so few, but there aren't few social interactions, but the thing is, social interactions, like, not that long ago. I mean, when I was a kid, there were no online social interactions. It was just face to face. And so and there was no such thing as an anonymous social interaction, because you were talking there. The only way you could do it is like putting a balaclava on or something, and then just being offensive. But now we've got this whole kind of, it's kind of easy to like have an online persona that isn't your persona. Which, I mean, let's face it, that's exactly what I'm doing here, because it's not like, people, there are lots of parts of my life that I obviously don't talk about here. And mainly because like, I like my privacy, but also mainly is that like, nobody cares. Who cares about my private life? Nobody cares about my private life. It's not interesting. There's nothing interesting about it. But we're in like this social media bubble where what we think about the world isn't even derived from like the physical world. It's almost as if bit by bit we're decoupling from the physical world. People don't know the neighbours. People don't, we walk past each other and don't even say hello. That's one of the things that's kind of funny about walking a dog, like really early in the morning, is that there's hardly anyone about. And like, I think there's like a certain amount of tension, especially because like when a man's walking along the road and there's a woman, she's like thinking, oh, what's going on? What's all this about? But then if you see him like walking along with a really stupidly small dog, like a Shih Tzu, then you go, alright, he's either like a really crazy rapist, or he's just taking his dog for a walk. So what tends to happen is, what you like, especially people being out that early, it tends to be for a reason, and so reason often implies like schedule and repetitive task and things like that. So that's why I'm always out at a certain time, and like certain people walking past, I see them every day, and you get to the point where like it's like good morning, stuff like that. And even people, I walk around with my headphones on, so it's not like I'm going to be having a conversation, but it's just kind of morning, walking up there, see someone, and you see someone that you haven't never said before, because you're just in the habit of saying good morning, then you just say good morning, and they're like, oh, good morning. And it's like a completely different take on, it's a completely different interaction. And people don't, if they were the only interactions that I had with people, and I didn't do any of the online stuff, and like, because most of the time that I'm actually out of the house and like walking is either early in the morning or like late in the evening, and there's not many people about, and almost everyone that you see about says hello and goodbye, and so I could quite easily come to the conclusion like, well, I don't know anyone who doesn't walk around and like say good morning to people. Whereas when I go out a little bit later, say I'm taking the kids to school, maybe I've got to like go out the car and actually walk them up to school or something, hardly any of the parents are like making eye contact or saying hello. It's all like, it's the same place, it's just like at a different time, and so your perception of what's going on is completely different. And that's what I mean, it's like, it's just all there. It's not like I'm not in a different place. Whereas me and my mates are actually, one's in Australia, one's in Spain, and our realities are completely different because we're actually in different places at like different times, even though it's happening at the same time. But here, I'm just separating things by a couple of hours, and the experience is just completely different in the same place. So the point is, the reason that like almost all of my videos, because it's called Fran Cooks Lunch, right? So what I'm on about is I am mostly interested in trying to get across the message that like, if you do healthy things like cooking, I don't even go on about what I cook. It's just the fact that I actually go to the trouble to cook something that I'm going to eat. And obviously you can see that it's not like a load of crap that I'm eating, it's like, it's vegetables and it's bean, it's food, it's real food. And that's the reason that I go on about things like this, is because it's like what you do with your mind directly affects, outcomes on yourself, like how you feel, what you look like. So obviously I can't like pull pictures of myself from 10 years ago when I was fat or something. But the problem is that I don't have many of those pictures anyway, because when you're fat you don't want to get many pictures taken of you, type of thing. But what I'm getting at is, the way out of bad habits is good habits, and the way out of like feeling bad about yourself is to like, you can change what you think and what you see, and how you perceive the world, and it's all there. It really is all there. Part of it though is you have to do some physical things that'll like yank your mind, get you out of like the bad place. And that's one of the things that the 30-day dad bod buster challenge goes on about. It's like, do certain things that'll make you feel a little bit better. But the whole point, the reason that I actually care at all is purely selfish reasons. It's because if everyone was a bit more happy, then the world would be a much better place. And if people felt a little bit better about themselves and gave themselves the space to like, what do I think about whatever, rather than I hate my life, I hate them, who am I going to vote for? I don't know, but I'm going to vote against that. You know, it's not voting for anything, it's going to vote against that, which is like part of the whole reason that I think that you shouldn't vote anyway. You know, that's the whole premise of it is not like, oh, how can I vote for myself to make my life better? No. You know, if everyone did that, then it probably would get better, because let's face it, everyone's saying, oh, it's the capitalists and it's the rich. And it's like, but, you know, we recognise that most people aren't rich, right? So it's obviously not them manipulating the vote. And like, all the shit that's happening all over the world is all because of like, everyone at the bottom. So it's obviously not working. It's not, you know, voting against stuff isn't working. So, you know, maybe we could just leave that to a side. But if we actually all felt better, and like, you know, you can't love other things if you don't have a certain amount of self-love. You just can't. And if you hate the way you look, and you hate the way you feel, and you just hate all your interactions, you're not going to get anywhere. And so, through purely selfish, like, I admit I'm being selfish, but I think that if everyone was selfish in the sense of making the world better for themselves by starting with themselves, that's what I mean by selfish as well. It's like, start with you, make your life better, be the example. So, you know, I'm quite proud to say that I go out and I say, you know, I'll walk tall, look people in the eye, you know, say good morning. And it, you know, it does break the ice, and then it's like people, you know, a few days ago, like you see someone huddling off to work, and like after a few days this, and like they look up and they smile at you, and it's like good morning, and it feels good, and we can have these nice little interactions if you feel good about yourself, because you feel like, you know, I'm worth saying hello to, and like I want to say hello to you. So, you know, and the reason I make these videos is because, like I said, I'm being selfish, but I want this world to be better than it is, and I want it better for my kids, and I want it better for, like, you know, where I live. I wish that where I lived was just like some kind of enlightened Shangri-La, you know what I mean? Where like, oh, everyone's just great, and you know, everyone's just, and it's not. You know, like people just seem to like hate each other, and like the neighbours don't like each other, and everything's just, everyone hates everything about everything, and it's like, ugh. You know, it's just not going to get better unless we make it better, and we need to make it better for ourselves. You know, if we delegating our opinions and delegating the state of society to, like, you know, some psychopaths who are in power who they're not there to make the world better. And it's like, you know, they're really not. You know, people who want to make the world better, at least, you know, tend to be like nurses, you know, like priests or whatever, you know, it's like, they try and, you know, you don't, how am I going to make the world better? I know I'll be a politician. It's just like, no. So, that's today's rant. And I was also thinking, you know, I don't know if I should, like, I like to think that these talks are like pep talks, because I do actually, I'd love for someone to give me a pep talk every now and again. You know, just like, have you ever thought about doing this, or have you ever thought about that, or, you know, and it's like, I don't know, I guess I just don't move in those circles, you know. I'm 48, I'm nearly 49, and I'd love to have a mentor, but I don't have one, so I just do the best I can, and while I'm doing the best I can, I'm trying to, like, just put things out there so that people think, well, you know, maybe I should just try a little harder, you know, maybe I don't have to be fat, because I hate being fat, you know, things like that. Right. Fran has cooked lunch. Check out the 30-day Dan Foster challenge, and like and subscribe and all that, like you say, like the young kids say these days, apparently in the UK, when they're saying goodbye to each other. You say like and subscribe. Which is very funny and also incredibly depressing. Thanks for watching. See you around.